Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about the dangers of checking in on your ex.
I like how we say it, like the dangers of vaping.
This is worse. This is scary. When you're going through that breakup, it is so tough to feel the space, to not know what's going on in their life. And with social media, the way that it is, it's so incredibly easy to see what they're doing, to get that information. And some of you guys are on like 4 different social medias with your ex, and dating sites.
Yeah. And I've heard somebody recently tell me that the first thing that they do in the morning is wake up and check all the apps to see if anything new has popped up from their ex. And I could see this really being consuming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then many of you guys are like, on dating apps, and you'll see your ex and you're like, I don't know if I should swipe right. So you close it off. And then every day you're looking to see if you're like still like matching with them, or not matching, but they're popping up as one of your options.
Yeah. And this can really be addictive, because every time you do get a new piece of information from your ex, it's like a dopamine hit. Like, oh my gosh, this is some kind of information. I have an idea of what's going on in their life. I feel a little bit more like I'm in control. I feel a little bit, or maybe you feel completely out of control by having more information, but you get something, and something feels better than nothing, especially in those moments where you're really feeling alone and, going through the grief of the breakup.
It's completely overwhelming. And I had a guy I've been doing a bunch of calls with, and he just did not do anything that I told him to do, and all the coachings. He kept going against me, and then he wound up reaching out to his ex and getting ignored. And I keep telling him, you got to leave it alone and let her reach out to you. And he sent me an email. He's panicking. He's like, well, now she's posting on social media every day. I'm like, okay, but it's still on her to reach out to you. But when you're going through it, any tiny, minute little thing feels devastating. They can change their picture. You can see them logging on and off the apps. You could see, they've been active at 2:00 in the morning. So you're like, who are they talking to?
Yeah.
It makes you absolutely consumed, and it's not good for your peace of mind. It's not good for you to get to a good place. And ultimately, I keep trying to tell you guys this, it's not going to change whether you get your ex back or not. In fact, if anything, it's going to hurt your chances, because you're not centered when you have to be.
Yeah. And we understand that this is in a way trying to reconnect with your ex. You have that separation that happened, and you feel so distant from them, and it can feel really lonely. And I know that getting some piece of information can feel like you are close to them. It can feel like temporarily reconnecting with them, getting a hint of what's happening in their life. And it can be hard still for your brain to understand that they are becoming a different person. Not in the sense that, it's not the person that you dated, but in the sense that there's things happening in their life that you don't know about. Even if you do have a picture or have a little bit of information, you still don't really know what's happening. Yep. And so sometimes the checking can, especially if it's compulsive to this degree, it can do a lot more damage than good, because it adds a lot more questions. You see a picture of them out. Who took the picture? Who were they with? What were they doing? Who's in the
reflection of the glass?
Yeah. And so a lot of times it just adds a lot more questions and not as much substance. Now, we know that some of you do find out that your ex is dating someone new. And for many of you, that is like the thing where you're like, oh, all right, they're dating someone new. I am moving on. But a lot of times it's not. So you kind of have to wager with yourself, how much are you willing to know? Are you prepared to know? And ultimately, this to me is the biggest thing, is how is it impacting you? How is it affecting you?
Oh, yeah. That's very important, because the digital stalking keeps you consumed on them instead of getting to a great place to reattract them when they oftentimes do reach out. And the thing that I do love about our work and what we share here is that all this stuff pertains to anyone that you date. Healing yourself, getting to a good place, learning about attachment issues, becoming more confident, learning how to communicate better. All those great strategies make you a better partner for anybody. So it's not in vain if it doesn't work out with them. And that's what I love.
Yeah, yeah. And really what we're focused on is shifting the mindset, because we know that you're very hurt during a breakup and you interpret and perceive everything through that lens of hurt, including whatever you find on their social media. And so this is why this can be dangerous, is because you are misinterpreting whatever you see. You know, you see a post of them out, like we joked around about, like the other questions that come out when you see that. But we will also make our own assumptions about what we see. Mm-hmm. We'll see them out and we'll think, oh, well, they're obviously over me. You know, they'll be at a restaurant. Oh, they ordered the burger and I'm vegan. They're obviously over me.
Yeah, we totally catastrophize.
Yeah, and so we're always going to interpret that through the lens that we currently see it in. Mm-hmm. And you can't win this game where whatever information you get, the outcome is always hurtful because you're viewing it through that lens. So you're seeing it all from an emotional state. And what's interesting is sometimes many of you will work through the breakup and then later say, I can't believe I was so focused on this one little detail.
Yeah.
You know, later you'll kind of look at it with a completely different view and be like, why did I think that little detail was so important?
Yeah. Yeah, like you saw that they went on a run at the park that you used to go to.
Yeah.
Who were they at the park with? It feels devastating in the moment.
Months later, once you're a little bit more regulated, you look back and you're like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that seeing that one silly little thing can leave you devastated for like a whole week.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, they went on a run in the park that you used to go to. Now you can't concentrate, you can't sleep, you can't eat. Mm-hmm. You keep thinking about it obsessively instead of thinking about, where did I go wrong in this relationship? What did I do great in this relationship? What do I need to work on? What can I do better? How can I grow from this? How can I learn from this? You're obsessed about something as silly as they stopped at the mall where your sister used to work, mm-hmm. and they walked in the shop where your sister goes sometimes. Something silly, and you're like, devastated.
Yeah. And this is where I think the danger comes in. This to me is really the most dangerous part, is we really start to focus on whatever they are doing more so than what we're doing. And we really have this belief then that whatever they are doing is more important than the thing that you are currently doing. And it really does make your universe revolve around them. And that to me is the danger, is we miss sight on what we're doing. When I was young, I had this youth pastor and he had this great analogy. He had a lot of wacky things to say, but he did have this great analogy about like life is like driving in a car. Mm. And when we're focused on the windshield, we will be terrible drivers. You know, maybe there's some bird crap that's on the windshield, or maybe there's, like a little scratch.
Love bugs. If you're in Florida, it's covered in love bugs.
True. And so we're focused on all these things that are on the windshield, and we can't see what direction we're going or what's beyond it or what's past us. And that's kind of how I see the danger of being obsessive and checking your ex's social media. It's like you're focused on the wrong thing. Sure, you might be getting, unless there's like, groundbreaking news like your ex is dating someone new, which once again, you'd have to be prepared to see that.
They're married. Is this big?
Yeah.
No.
A lot of the times we're so focused on the small stuff to where we miss the bigger picture and we miss the road that's ahead of us. And that can really affect our direction, really starts to affect our life. So that's really the point that we're trying to drive home here, is sometimes we get so consumed by those things that we miss what's happening in our life. And this is almost a reminder to redirect that attention back to you.
Very good point. If you stay consumed thinking about them, where they're at, what they're doing, you're not going to get to a confident place. And when they reach out to you, you're going to be so stressed out and anxious because you've been so stressed and anxious all along. You're not getting to a place where you're more confident and you feel better about things because you're still consumed about them and you're afraid of losing them, and you've already lost them, but you're going to make it worse because when you're afraid of losing someone or something like that, you often wind up doing the things that cause it to make it worse to lose them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I say, the very thing you're afraid of, we often cause to happen. Mm-hmm. So you got to get focused on you and living your life, healing, getting to a great place. It's like if you have a wound, a scab, if you keep picking at it, it never heals. It doesn't get any better. It just makes it worse. So you really want to stay away from obsessing about what they're doing. If you want to peek in occasionally, I understand, but if you're doing it 50, 100 times a day, it's just going to get you consumed on the wrong things.
Yeah. And while some of you are very disciplined with this sort of thing, we also don't want you to feel like you have to just tough it out with no support. So be prepared. Have a plan or a strategy with how to manage this kind of compulsive checking, meaning have something else to do, have something lined up. And this can be investing in your social network. This can be diving into new hobbies. This can be working on personal goals and personal projects. This can be volunteering. So really finding something else to fill in that time, because we know that when you don't have an alternative and we're telling you to kind of remove this thing that you've been going to just as a knee-jerk reaction, you're going to feel like, okay, well, now I have nothing. And we want you to feel supported. So come up with a personalized plan for yourself on, okay, how can I use this time better? How can I have an alternative to direct that energy to? Because in the moment, you know, our brain will say, okay, well, let's say, I don't know, it's summertime and you have a lot more time on your hands or whatever. You're going to be more inclined to do the thing that you have been doing. So have an alternative.
Yep. It's tough because you care about them so deeply and so much that all you want is to have them back in your life. And I understand, but it's not going to put you in a position of strength and confidence if you just obsessively look about where they're at and what they're doing. And you have to protect yourself. That's the most important thing, is self-protection from making this worse. You want to make the situation better. Obsessing about things that you can't control or could ultimately be absolutely meaningless is only going to hurt you. When you want to focus on the things that you can control, your personal growth, you know, your healing, you're feeling strong and confident again. Because think about it, in the beginning, when you attracted that person, you were relaxed, you were funny, you weren't afraid of losing them. And that's the mindset and the place you have to be when they come back. If you're still in this, you know, mindset or this attitude or this place of fear when they come back about losing them, you're going to wind up losing them because they're not going to feel attracted to you again. They're going to be like, they pity you, they feel bad for you, they feel sorry, they hurt you, and that is not going to make them feel attracted.
Yeah, we want you to be able to have that confidence back. And it's making me think of, you know, being involved in the dance scene. One of the common questions after a social is, oh, well, what was your best dance of the night? And there's a lot of cheesy people in the Zook scene that will say, well, the best dance I'm having is the one that I'm doing in the moment. It's the one that I'm having in the moment. It's the one that's happening right now. And while that's really cheesy, I do think there is something to that. I know earlier I had said sometimes our mindset shifts from what we're doing is not that important, but what our ex is doing is like the most important thing. I want you to tell yourself what you are doing now is the most important thing. And that's really that mindset of mindfulness. What is happening right now is most important. So that can be something that can help you shift away from that obsession over whatever is happening with your ex.
All right. Hopefully this one's been helpful to you. If you'd like to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.